Let's walk on the wise path.
In a world filled with meetings and mismatches, individuals often wear masks of cordiality and self-interest. Recognizing genuine care becomes an art, akin to a skilled gardener identifying plants that uplift rather than emotional parasites that drain. Join us on this channel dedicated to personal development, where we delve into the less obvious patterns, seeking wisdom in deciphering the enigmas of human interactions. But before we embark on this enlightening journey, I encourage you to stay tuned until the end. Every detail holds significance, much like the careful observations needed in a flourishing garden. So, buckle up, stay engaged, and don't forget to click the like button and subscribe for more insightful content. Now, let's dive into the intricate landscape of identifying a person who may just want to use you. 1. Diminishing or disdainful comments. All right, let's deep dive into the first sign, those diminishing or disdainful comments that can feel like subtle daggers to our self-worth. It's like walking through a garden where the flowers, instead of blooming with encouragement, are pruned with precision to undermine your confidence. Have you ever encountered someone who seems to have mastered the art of deploying diminutive remarks as a potent tool for erosion? These individuals, often disguised as friends or acquaintances, strategically chip away at your self-esteem, confidence, and sense of self-worth. Picture it like a skilled gardener using barbed hooks to dismantle rather than uplift. These comments, seemingly wrapped in humor or casual banter, are in reality calculated maneuvers in a psychological warfare. They are designed to systematically undervalue your achievements and aspirations. Whether it's trivializing your successes, scoffing at your aspirations, or feigning disinterest in your struggles and challenges, the goal is to create an imbalance in the relationship. It's as if they're planting seeds of self-doubt and diminished self-esteem, ensuring that you linger in a state of vulnerability, making you more susceptible to their manipulation and control. Think of it as a subtle dance where their disdainful remarks are not just about expressing a differing opinion or a touch of sarcasm. No, it's a strategic move to elevate their status by diminishing yours. These comments often mirror their own insecurities and feelings of inadequacy. By belittling others, they attempt to conceal their vulnerabilities and project a facade of superiority. Understanding and recognizing this pattern of behavior becomes a powerful tool. It's like lifting the veil of superficial charm that these individuals often wear. It's about gaining clarity on the toxic dynamics at play in the relationship. The moment you grasp this understanding, it serves as a warning, a signal that prompts you to either confront the behavior directly, setting clear boundaries, or to wisely distance yourself from such a toxic environment. The analogy here is akin to a gardener distinguishing between nourishing plants and those that deplete the soil. In this case, you are the gardener of your emotional well-being, and recognizing true allies from emotional parasites is the key. It involves not just intuition, but a keen eye, an ability to see beyond the apparent friendliness to comprehend the underlying toxic dynamic. These disdainful remarks aren't just about the surface. They are deep-rooted patterns of behavior that can permeate various aspects of your life. They impact not only your self-esteem, but the very essence of how you perceive yourself in the world. By being aware of these barbed hooks, you gain the power to confront them, set boundaries, and ultimately cultivate a garden of relationships that uplift rather than diminish. In essence, the journey of recognizing these diminishing comments is a journey of self-preservation. It's about cultivating a sense of self-worth that is resilient to the barbs of negativity. As you navigate this part of the emotional landscape, remember you deserve relationships that water your emotional garden, not ones that prune it with disdainful remarks. So, keep that keen eye, be the vigilant gardener of your emotional well-being, and let those toxic relationships wilt away as you embrace the warmth of authentic connections. 2. Failure to fulfill promises. Now, let's dive into the second sign, the theatrics of promises that are as fragile as a house of cards. Have you ever encountered someone who weaves promises with the finesse of a storyteller, But when it's time to transform those painted promises into reality, they falter, leaving you with a void of disappointment. Imagine this scenario as a theatrical production, where words take center stage as the actors, while actions languish as the overlooked script. These individuals are like expert storytellers, crafting tales of commitment and support with the finesse of a painter vividly portraying dreams of dedication. However, when the moment arrives to turn these painted promises into reality, they crumble, exposing the holes in their assurances. This discernible pattern becomes evident, especially when their support is most crucial or their promises are set for delivery. They vanish mysteriously, leaving behind a void filled with disappointment and disillusionment. This isn't just a breach of trust, it's a clear indicator of their true motivations. Their promises, seemingly sincere, become tools for manipulation, designed to extract value, trust, or support with no intention of reciprocation. Failing to fulfill promises, therefore, becomes a litmus test, distinguishing between those who value relationships as a two-way street of mutual respect and support, and those who view relationships solely as conduits for personal gain. The failure to fulfill promises is louder than the most eloquent of words. It unveils a person's true character and intentions. Understanding this pattern becomes a guide to navigate the intricate terrain of human relationships with a discerning eye. It empowers you to pierce through the veil of superficial charm and comprehend the underlying dynamics of the relationship. It's about recognizing that not all promises are genuine and paving the way for a more informed and guarded approach to interpersonal connections. So, picture this journey as navigating through a theatrical performance where promises are the script. By recognizing the patterns, you become the director of your relationships, ensuring that the actor's words align with their actions. It's about setting the stage for connections built on honesty and integrity, where promises aren't just empty words, but a foundation of trust and commitment. In essence, the failure to fulfill promises is a critical behavior to observe, providing clarity on the nature of the relationship. It's about distinguishing between those who genuinely commit to mutual growth and support and those who use promises as tools for personal gain. So, as you navigate the stage of relationships, let the spotlight be on authenticity, and may your connections be a well-scripted journey of trust and reciprocity. 3. Emotional manipulation. Now, let's unravel the third sign, the intricate dance of emotional manipulation that can leave you feeling like a delicate plant constantly swaying between overwatering and drought. Have you ever encountered someone who initially presents themselves as caring and attentive, only for that facade to swiftly transform into a mechanism for inducing feelings of anxiety, inadequacy, or guilt? Picture this scenario as a delicate garden, where a caring gardener nurtures with just the right amount of water and sunlight. However, the emotional manipulator, like a negligent gardener, alternates between overwatering and leaving the plant to wither in drought. They become skilled at pushing emotional buttons, praising to elevate you when it suits their purpose, and then sharply criticizing or undermining to instill self-doubt and dependency. Think of this manipulation as the gardener using emotional extremes to destabilize, creating an environment where you become emotionally dependent, constantly seeking their approval and validation to regain that initial sense of warmth. They may trivialize your accomplishments or magnify your failures, keeping you in a perpetual state of self-doubt. It's like a psychological seesaw where they control the balance, ensuring you are always seeking their approval. This emotional manipulation targets the very core of your emotional well-being. They might twist situations to make you feel guilty for normal actions, shifting the blame to ensure you are always the one apologizing. In relationships where emotional manipulation is at play, the balance of power is always skewed, with the manipulator holding the reins, deciding when to offer affection and when to withdraw, keeping you off balance. Identifying emotional manipulation requires keen awareness of these dynamics. It involves recognizing the patterns where your feelings are consistently toyed with and calls for introspection, to understand how these interactions affect your sense of self and emotional well-being. It's like being a vigilant gardener, constantly assessing the balance of emotional nutrients in your garden and ensuring that it's not being manipulated for someone else's benefit. So, as you navigate the delicate landscape of emotions, be the gardener who tends to their own well-being. Recognize the signs of emotional manipulation and let it serve as a guide to set boundaries and cultivate relationships that are built on mutual growth and support. Your emotional garden deserves care, not manipulation, and by being aware, you become the guardian of your own emotional landscape. 4. Disregard for your needs or feelings. Now, let's explore the fourth sign, a recurring pattern of behavior where your emotional landscape is consistently ignored or devalued. Imagine this as tending to a garden with only one flower allowed to bloom, while the others are neglected. In interactions with such individuals, your needs and desires take a back seat, leaving you feeling undervalued and invisible in the relationship. This disregard can manifest in various forms. They may routinely overlook your emotional needs, failing to provide support or understanding in vulnerable moments. Their indifference to your opinions and choices can drown out your voice, leaving you unheard in the dominating narrative they create. They may neglect to acknowledge your achievements or, worse, minimize your struggles, making light of issues that weigh heavily on you. This behavior goes beyond mere insensitivity. It's a calculated neglect, a tool used to maintain an upper hand in the relationship by invalidating your feelings and needs. The user creates an environment where your self-worth is undermined, making you more susceptible to their influence and control. It's like having a garden where only one plant receives the sunlight, while the rest wither in the shadows. This form of emotional manipulation is subtly executed but carries significant impact. It strikes at the very core of your emotional well-being, the need to be heard, understood, and valued. Repeatedly ignoring these fundamental needs can lead to a decline in self-esteem and a pervasive feeling of isolation, even within what appears to be an active relationship. To navigate such waters, it's crucial to recognize the signs of emotional neglect. This awareness becomes a guiding beacon, steering you away from relationships where your emotional well-being is at risk. It empowers you to seek connections where reciprocity, respect, and mutual care form the foundational pillars of a healthy and fulfilling relationship. So, envision yourself as the gardener of your emotional garden, tending to the needs of each flower with care and attention. Recognize the signs of neglect and let it guide you toward relationships that nurture and support your emotional well-being. Your emotional garden deserves to thrive, with each bloom contributing to the vibrant tapestry of a mutually respectful and fulfilling connection. 5. Unilateral benefit. Moving on to the fifth sign, a relationship resembling a parasitic dynamic where one organism, much like a user, draws nourishment without contributing equally. Whether it's financial, emotional, or practical, these individuals often borrow resources, promise reciprocity, and rely heavily on you for support, validation, and attention. However, when roles are reversed, they conveniently become absent or too busy to reciprocate. Imagine this dynamic as a parasitic relationship where the user draws nourishment, be it emotional, financial, or practical support, without adequately contributing to your well-being. Over time, this lack of reciprocity can deplete your resources, leaving you drained and unfulfilled. The motives behind this unilateral benefit often stem from deep-seated self-centeredness and a lack of empathy. They view relationships as transactional, evaluating actions based on what they stand to gain rather than what they can contribute. Recognizing this pattern requires a discerning eye. It involves understanding the persistent lack of reciprocity and the feeling of being perpetually shortchanged in the relationship. This awareness calls for an honest assessment of whether the interactions leave you feeling valued and respected or used and undervalued. Understanding this dynamic empowers you to navigate relationships with a clearer perspective, fostering connections built on mutual respect and contribution rather than one-sided gain. So, envision yourself as the guardian of your resources, tending to your emotional, financial, and practical well-being. Recognize the signs of a parasitic dynamic and let it guide you toward relationships that are mutually enriching and supportive. Your resources are precious, and by being aware, you become the curator of a relationship garden where each contribution is valued and reciprocated. 6. Absence in critical moments. Let's delve into the 6th sign, a relationship dynamic where support is present only in fair weather, disappearing when the storm clouds gather. Imagine a tree that provides shade only when the sun is gentle, but vanishes when the storm clouds gather. In good times, individuals with this pattern may bask in the shared light and reap the benefits of the relationship. However, when challenges arise and support is most needed, their presence dwindles, leaving you to weather the storm alone. Such individuals treat relationships as a convenience, weighing their involvement on a scale of personal benefit. Their support is superficial, extended only when it aligns with their interests, or when there's something to gain. In critical moments, personal crises, professional setbacks, or emotional turmoil, their absence is palpable. It's during these times when genuine support and empathy are most needed that their true priorities and lack of commitment to the relationship are starkly revealed. This absence during your critical moments serves as a critical litmus test, helping distinguish between those genuinely invested in your well-being and those in the relationship merely for their gain. The impact of this behavior can be profound, breeding a sense of betrayal and disillusionment, chipping away at trust and reliability you thought were foundational. Understanding this pattern is essential for recognizing the nature of the relationship and the other person's true intentions. So, envision yourself as the guardian of your emotional landscape, recognizing the signs of fair weather support. Let it guide you toward relationships where consistent support, both in times of joy and adversity, is a cornerstone. Your relationships deserve a reliable and supportive foundation, weathering storms together and basking in shared sunshine. By being aware, you become the cultivator of connections that stand the test of time. 7. Constant competition. Now, let's explore the 7th sign, a constant competition that turns every interaction into a strategic game. Visualize a game of chess where every move is meticulously calculated, not only to advance one's position, but also to systematically undermine the opponent. Similarly, a person with the intention of using you often treats the relationship as a strategic game. Your achievements, decisions, or challenges become opportunities for them to assert superiority. In a professional setting, they might attempt to outshine you in meetings or take credit for your ideas. In personal relationships, they could downplay your experiences or achievements, often contrasting theirs to appear more significant. Even in casual conversations, there's a palpable undercurrent of them trying to prove themselves better, smarter, or more successful. This constant competition is fueled by deep-seated insecurity and a skewed perception of self-worth. This perspective turns every interaction into a zero-sum game where, for them to win, someone else, in this case, you must lose. It creates an environment of perpetual tension where genuine collaboration or support is replaced by rivalry. Your successes are not celebrated, but viewed as challenges to their dominance, and your struggles are not met with empathy, but seen as opportunities for them to gain an upper hand. Identifying and understanding this pattern is crucial. It helps in setting boundaries and recalibrating the relationship, if possible, to a more healthy and collaborative dynamic. Recognize that the foundation of any destructive relationship is mutual respect and support, not a relentless race for superiority. Envision yourself as the architect of a collaborative landscape, fostering connections that celebrate each other's successes and navigate challenges as a united front. By being aware, you become the creator of relationships that thrive on cooperation rather than competition. 8. Lack of genuine support. Let's move on to the 8th sign, a relationship where genuine support is conspicuously absent. Envision a tree in a vast forest, thriving in an ecosystem supported by surrounding trees, undergrowth, and a flourishing environment. Now, contrast that with a tree standing alone in a barren landscape, devoid of support or protection. This scenario parallels being in a relationship with someone who lacks genuine interest in your well-being. In such relationships, your goals, projects, and challenges are met with apathy or token gestures of support. This person may nod to your plans, offer a half-hearted good luck, or even verbalize support. However, their actions, or the lack thereof, speak louder when tangible assistance, meaningful advice, or a listening ear is needed during tough times. Their presence is conspicuously absent when you need it the most. The reason behind this lack of genuine support is rooted in their focus on self-interest. Your successes or failures, challenges or interests are only relevant to them as they affect their goals. They view relationships through a transactional lens, where emotional investment is calculated based on potential personal returns. This attitude creates an imbalance where one party continuously gives, be it effort, care, or resources, while the other takes, often leaving the giver feeling undervalued and unseen. Recognizing this absence of genuine support is crucial for understanding the nature of your relationship with such an individual. It calls for an honest assessment of the reciprocity in your interactions. Identifying and addressing this lack of support is key to ensuring that you invest your time and energy in relationships that are nurturing, reciprocal, and genuinely supportive. So, picture yourself as the curator of your support network, recognizing the signs of genuine interest. Let it guide you toward relationships where support is not just a formality, but a heartfelt commitment. Your goals and challenges deserve genuine cheerleaders, and by being aware, you become the cultivator of connections that thrive on mutual encouragement and support. 9. Persistent lack of respect. Finally, let's explore the ninth sign, a persistent lack of respect woven into the fabric of the relationship. This behavior goes beyond occasional lapses in judgment or heated moments. It's a continuous thread that manifests in various forms. Whether through belittling comments, dismissive attitudes, or blatant disregard for your feelings and boundaries, this persistent lack of respect creates a relationship landscape akin to a barren one, devoid of the nourishment needed for growth. Imagine navigating a garden where respect is the nourishment that helps relationships flourish. In its absence, what's left is a barren landscape where nothing healthy can grow. Every attempt at conversation or connection becomes a path fraught with thorns of contempt and disregard. The person exhibiting this lack of respect uses it as a tool, consciously or unconsciously, to assert dominance or control in the relationship. It's a way of diminishing the other, maintaining an upper hand in a dynamic where equality and mutual regard should prevail. This consistent disrespect deeply undermines the foundation of the relationship. Disagreements become battlefields with no regard for emotional casualties, disrupting the normal ebb and flow of relationship dynamics. It makes it difficult, if not impossible, to return to a state of normalcy and mutual respect. Understanding and recognizing this pattern of persistent disrespect is vital. It involves looking beyond isolated incidents to see the broader pattern of behavior. Realize that respect is not just about grand gestures. It's present in daily interactions, small acknowledgments, and the way disagreements are handled. In conclusion, a persistent lack of respect in a relationship is a significant indicator that someone views you not as an equal partner, but as a means to an end. This lack of regard for your feelings and dignity reveals a relationship that is fundamentally unbalanced and unhealthy. Recognizing this trait is crucial for anyone who values their self-respect and seeks relationships built on a foundation of mutual respect and equality. Picture yourself as the guardian of your self-esteem and dignity, recognizing the signs of disrespect. Let it guide you toward relationships where mutual regard is not just a nice-to-have, but a non-negotiable. Your emotional well-being deserves an environment where respect is a constant, and by being aware, you become the curator of connections that honor your worth. Deciphering the signs of a person who just wants to use you is like navigating a garden of relationships, distinguishing between nourishing plants and those that deplete the soil. Each sign is like a unique flower, contributing to the overall landscape of your connections. By being aware and attuned to these subtle patterns, you empower yourself to cultivate a garden of healthy, authentic relationships. As seekers of wisdom and deciphering human enigmas, we've journeyed through the nuances of individuals who may exploit others for personal gain. From diminishing comments to unfulfilled promises, emotional manipulation to disregard for your needs, and from unilateral benefit to absence in critical moments, constant competition, lack of genuine support, and persistent lack of respect, these signs act as beacons, guiding us toward more fulfilling and reciprocal connections. Envision yourself as the gardener of your relational landscape, equipped with a keen eye for the subtle signs and a discerning heart to nurture what truly uplifts you. In this garden, authenticity and reciprocity become the fertile soil, trust and support the lifeblood, and mutual respect the blossoming flowers. By recognizing these patterns, you become the architect, curator, and guardian of your relationships. Your emotional well-being deserves the richness of connections that celebrate your successes, weather storms together, and provide genuine support. It's about investing your time and energy in relationships that reciprocate your care, where respect is not just a token, but an integral part of the foundation. So, stay strong, stay focused, and remain vigilant. Be the cultivator of connections that add value to your life. Remember, you have the power to shape your relational landscape, a vibrant garden filled with authenticity, mutual respect, and the joy of genuine connections. Happy gardening